Hello everybody and welcome to ESL Pro League Season 8 live from the Intel Esports Arena here in Leicester. We're slotted in for another fantastic season which boasts to be even better than the last one. And someone that is joining me on this journey will be the wondrous Benjamin SEO Doughty, the former player turned analyst. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. It's a bit of a different environment. I'm used to Prem broadcasts and this is Pro League, so same standard of play, or is the UK that far behind?
Oh, I know. It's interesting you say that because obviously we are going to be starting the day off with Smooya as well, so we see a little bit of UK action later in on the day, and it should be a good one. Are you excited for the games?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a different level of broadcast here, isn't it? It's completely different. Not UK size. We're actually going into the professional leagues now. You know, your Bigs, HellRaisers, AGO, all these different sides who are, much further up than the UK sides we're used to.
That's very true. A cut above the rest. Let's actually delve in deeper to the teams we have here in the league as well, so we can see which of our 14 teams have made it. And why don't you give a bit of a breakdown to this, Ben, and give some context to which squads have actually found their way into Season 8.
Yeah, so obviously 14 teams, as you mentioned. We have 2 new teams joining us, Big and Windigo, both coming from the MDL seasons last season. AGO with a team that technically avoided relegation last season by beating out, I believe, technically it was Envious that dropped as well. But obviously now that roster is now dissolved. They're now in NA with a new look, I suppose. But otherwise, you've got your Astralis, reigning champions. Top 7 of this league will then move on to the finals in Odense, which same destination as Season 6, I believe.
It is, and it actually it bodes well, obviously, a big position for these teams if they can make it to the finals. It's a pretty star-studded roster now in terms of the teams we're going to be seeing. The Return to Space Soldiers, once again, obviously did well in the online season last time around, and then faltered a little bit when it came to the actual LAN finals. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, with them seeming to be a little bit on the rocks recently. Yeah,
I mean, it all started off that major performance, wasn't it, really? They had the issue with the visas. They had their coach stand in, which, it's fair enough. Like, the guy, he doesn't play CS.
Yeah.
He did pretty well considering that, issue, but 0-3, even on online recently, they've been performing pretty poorly as well. You've got to hope at some point that turns around, right? Like, Santares has been playing really well, especially at Istanbul. There was a game, I think he had 36 kills or something, and the results still aren't coming through.
Yeah, and that's actually the event you thought they would have been able to revitalise themselves a little bit as well. The home crowd there, in terms of just being pumped up. There's still a lot of eyes on the roster. Obviously, they were having a bit of a slow and steady climb. Now it's sort of plateaued a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see if they once again rise to fame. Potentially, this could be the season for it if things are back in their favour. And it's interesting you should mention Istanbul there as well, Ben, because the teams that are actually coming back from that, i.e. Mouse Sports with New York and some of the teams that were there, it's obviously that issue of jet lag as well. We're jumping straight into Pro League. So some of these matchups actually could be very interesting who we see coming in with upsets. Today could be one for upsets. Yeah,
there's a couple of teams that were actually at New York. Obviously, Istanbul, not as far as New York, but it's still quite a bit of travel. But that event did finish, I believe, a day earlier. So that does favour them especially. Then, as you mentioned, Mouse Sports did win that event over Team Liquid in the NA side Pro League. It was quite surprising, if I'm honest. It was a bit of a... Everybody was thinking, is this Liquid finally going to win a good event? And no, they're not. Pretty terrible, if I'm honest. Another choke.
Yeah, an unlucky performance for Liquid, but it does mean we'll see some interesting stuff from Mouse Sports a little bit later on. But let's get into the schedule and see who we are actually going to be witnessing today on the main stream and here on the B stream. So the games we're going to be coming up with is, as we've alluded to, Big versus HellRaisers to kick it off. It actually should be a pretty good one. Obviously, seeing Smooya again off the back of the major, the Big squad, another face-off against HellRaisers, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, this will be the first time we see them since that major. As you mentioned, they lost 2-0 to Na'Vi. Honestly, there has been some, I wouldn't say turmoil, but there are some question marks here and there every now and then. Ismu departing, he's been pretty damn good the past few months as well. He played really well at the major. He was the shining light, if I'm honest. Like, Tabson didn't play as well as he used to. Nex, non-existent, if I'm honest. And Smooya was, he's constantly putting up at least 20 kills every map. So the question is, are they actually comfortable as a team right now? Are they thinking, is Smooya going to leave? Like, what's the situation?
Yeah, there's a lot of debate going on with that, obviously, outside of the game with the team. A whole lot of interesting caveats to look at, potentially, as that one develops. So this season for Big could be a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the UK star boy there in Smooya as it goes on. Moving on, our second game of the day, Go versus Windigo. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so obviously AGO, they survived last season thanks to the relegation battle. Windigo promoted due to the relegation battle. So it's complete... newcomers versus survival, like survivalists, right? So Windigo hoping to start off strong against arguably a team that will probably be, at that relegation sort of level again. But as I said, it's up in the air, really. Like Windigo, they're not used to this level of performance, like a playing field, right? So it might just be a bit of a shock to them, perhaps, if they meet AGO and AGO stomp them.
It's true. I think this could be a bit of a shock to the system, obviously, as it goes on for this season of Pro League for Windigo. It will be more of a benchmark to see where they actually lie with those constant games. Obviously, a lot of matchups you're going to have to play throughout this season, so it really will bore you down. And then for the final game that will be going on at 9:30 CET, that is Heroic versus NIP.
Yeah, a much more level matchup, I guess, if you think about, just across the board. Heroic, they actually got some Pro League finals last season due to HellRaisers dropping out with the visa issues. NIP, in recent months, they've had this very sudden rise. I mean, at the major, they were probably one of the better teams who did not make it through to playoffs. So, obviously, online series, you're starting to wonder, is that same sort of battle in them, I guess? And obviously, Heroic and NIP, they did play, I think it was, less than a month ago at DreamHack Stockholm?
Yeah.
And that was a pretty one-sided affair, if I'm honest, as well. Like, there was a stomping on that map as well, 16-4, I think. So, I mean, so long as Heroic maybe show up a bit better, it might be quite a difficult matchup.
Heroic's one of those teams as well we've seen sort of in constant turmoil in terms of the roster, finding a little bit more sort of stability now, but there's a lot of eyes on them. Players looking towards players like Nico, if there's going to be additions or potentially trying to poach players like that, because they've sort of become more of a foster for talent than anything else at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nico departed like a week ago, I think.
Yeah.
Gosh, it was about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? And, they brought in Mertz, and, he's another player who, North Academy into North, everybody's thinking, where's the step up that you need in performance? Didn't really come. He then gets his opportunity here, and he looks to be doing a bit better, but you're still wondering, where is that star? Like, the performances are not coming out. So hopefully he might show something different.
Potentially so. Well, let's get into the first game of the day. That is going to be Big versus HellRaisers. Obviously a best of two best of ones, one after the other, to see who will be able to get themselves some extra points in the stand-in. Same rules apply, so if it does go to overtime, you'll get slightly reduced points there. So it is about picking up those big wins straight away. So could be quite interesting in terms of the matchup. I mean, Big versus HellRaisers, let's break it down from the top. What are we looking at, Ben?
Yeah, so if I just pure comparison head-to-head, as the organization's done, so Big as an organization, so it's not the same lineups like, this one they had Kiev, Leggy, that sort of thing. Big have only won 3 out of the 10 matchups, which is pretty damn poor if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But you start to think, as a team, they grew a lot very quickly, didn't they? They had that instance at, Krakow, I think, where they had playing Inferno, they did really well. And then that slow build-up, perhaps more wins in recent months than there was in the first year. So.
Yeah.
HellRaisers, on the other hand, they played pretty well at the major, if I'm honest. Like, they played against Liquid, and it was a 2-1 series. It was
a good
really,
showing.
really close, yeah. And that was with, some maps where some players didn't play as well as they probably should have. Like, Voxic had some games which were a bit iffy. ISA was the same. They got a lot of players who can suddenly just show up. I mean, I was looking through the numbers for all the players. Angel, surprisingly, is one of the top players in the world when it comes to just ADR. And he's the IGL. It's so surprising, to have him, and then you've got Woxy and Issa, 2 players who played, youngsters technically.
Yeah.
And they're playing so well too. It's, it's a roster with a lot of talent, just not that much results coming through.
That's the interesting part, because obviously you've got sort of all the really set pieces you need for a very successful team. Young talent, good individual players, an in-game leader that has a ton of experience and a big heart in terms of how Angel approaches the game and can motivate the squad. We've seen that. He's someone that has so much passion for it. There has to come a point where eventually we will see a bit of a breakthrough for them. So potentially this could be a good season for them. Obviously, this is a big matchup to start off, really a bit of a grudge match to carry on what went down and try and see who will actually come out on top this time around.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that sort of thing as well. So, HellRaisers, they did actually qualify last year. I mentioned it briefly. And they missed out just due to visa issues, which, that's got to be thinking... It's a kick in the teeth, right? Yeah, you've got to be thinking, like, this season, we must have sorted those visa issues by now, right? That was just an unlucky one-off. I mean, technically, I think it was Woxic who dropped there.
Yeah.
Turkey to the United States, it is a bit of an iffy visa situation anyway. Odense, it might be a bit easier. And, that's pretty easy compared to the United States, as I mentioned. But... hopefully they manage to get there again. It was, I think they finished 6th last season, which, when you consider the teams around them, G2 around them, Heroic, sorry. Like, a lot of teams that you probably think they shouldn't really be going above.
It's when you're looking at it sort of in terms of the tier list of where they should be placing.
So, I mean, it should be a good season for them. They showed pretty well at the Major, as I mentioned, and hopefully more of that to come.
Yeah, hopefully so. Well, let's actually get into the odds of this one as well, as we did just have them come through. You can tell me what you think about this, Ben. It's 1.72 for Big to 1.95 there of HellRaisers.
Sounds about right, really, when you think about, both teams got to the final 8 in the Major. So that's a positive for both. But then you think, the previous matchup was at the Major.
Yeah.
Big did win 16-9. That was on train though, and that was after I think Big had a 9-1 second half. So I think first half it was 8-7 in that scoreline. It was a pretty close game up until Big took control of that one half. So those odds probably just sound about right. You consider previous matchup, Big did win, which is what probably edges them over in this situation.
Taking that into consideration then, obviously, as you've just alluded to the maps on that one, that was on train. We do know the veto for this of where they're going to be facing off. Let's try and work that down then from what we've got. Going into that first matchup, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the previous matchups, so I mentioned Train, they played last month. They played Train 4 times against each other in previous matches. So that's, you're instantly thinking in a best of 3, you'd get Train more often than not there. Overpass was another one 3 times as well. You can say they've only matched up 10 times. So that's 2 maps taking up 7 of the 10 matches. You got to thinking, in this veto situation, it's preference of map, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably not going to get the maps that you actually are very, very good at. So in Big's situation, Train is one of the good maps. Dust 2 is probably another one that I'd say is up there. I'd also put Inferno there. So chances are, you'll get one of those 3 if you're lucky, assuming the other team does not favour those maps too. So I mean, HellRaisers, just looking on the board, you've got to be thinking, they've got a pretty good map pool for this, right? They don't need to force Train or anything like that. They can just sit back, get your cash, your Mirage, that sort of thing, and hopefully it does work out in their way.
I think that's the thing, right? Because we look at it now in terms of the actual maps we're seeing here, and you pointed this out, the fact that actually none of the games we're really going to see on the B stream will have Inferno played today. And that's a big interesting point because of the fact it's normally so precedent and so common because of how well teams like to play it and how well they can play it. But now with a veto system in place like this, where it is based off preference, you see more of that middle ground map come up, where it's a little bit more even for either side. And actually the veto can be very interesting now when it's done in this way. So it's definitely a point for thought.
Yeah, I mean, Inferno is like your staple 3rd map in a best of 3.
Yeah.
Right, that's your grand final map. You want that to be the last one.
Yeah.
You want that to go double overtime. Fantastic map. Not to see it at all today is so unusual. Just because, as you mentioned, every team knows how to play it. So technically, every team should be thinking it's not their top 3 maps, but you put it in that middle section, don't you? So not seeing it is quite surprising. I mean, Cash, that is the first map like today. So I just want to compare it. So HellRaisers with current roster. They've got a 64% win rate on 14 games played. Pretty solid. Consider they probably play tier 1 opposition quite regularly as well. Big, on the other hand, have only played it 7 times with this 5.
Okay.
And they've only won 4 of those 7 games. And you consider that most of those matchups, actually, technically, I've got here, the HellRaisers big last matchup on Cash was slightly different rosters, right? Keeve and Legia played for Big.
Yeah.
And HellRaisers had Zero, who's now disappeared.
Completely
Disappeared.
He's gone off the face of the earth, yeah.
And HellRaisers took that 16-7, and that was with Zero, surprisingly, going 27 kills. So, you consider the 4 of the roster, at least against the 3 there, it was quite one-sided.
Yeah.
So maybe now there might be something different. Maybe this, usually in this system, you'll have one map which is slightly favoured to one side, the other one to the other side. So I'd probably put this more in favour, of HellRaisers here.
I think so. I mean, let's get into that then, obviously, as we are almost ready to get underway with the games. Where do your predictions lie for this one? Who are your allegiances going to be with? Big or HellRaisers to take this with the opening map?
I'm going to go one step further, and HellRaisers 16-12. I'm giving you a score as well.
Yeah?
16-12.
You're getting them in there. You're slotting it right in. So 16-12 in favour of HellRaisers. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to go for the big pickup just to see if our boy Smoog can try and get some motivation going, try and deal some damage with the orb. I think it could be a bit of a spectacle, but it does bode well. Obviously, a very interesting matchup in terms of this one. As you said, the last time we saw them was at the Major. It's going to be refreshing. We haven't really seen much from Big. They've had a little bit of downtime since the Major. Now diving back into it. I believe this is the first time we've seen them since then, so it will actually be very intriguing to see how this one goes.
Yeah, I mean, from that actual matchup at the Major, so Smoothie had a great game. Train is one of his maps, though, isn't it? Let's be real.
He can pop
Woxic
off.
had 29 ADR in that game. Very unusual, poor performance from him. So that might have been a big part of why that matchup was so, I wouldn't say one-sided, 16-9, why it went in their favour.
But definitely could be a reason for what gave them the extra bit of success they needed. But we are ready. We're diving into the server. The map is Cash. The teams are HellRaisers and Big. HellRaisers starting off on the T side, Big over on the CT side, Ben.
Yeah, commonly put as a bit more of a T-sided map in some people's minds. It does look like a very slow A-take coming through here. Smoke Highway and a Molly Quad, but Tabson knows everything about this push.
Ooh, next. Lightning fast reflexes there as he gracefully adjusts down and finds the head of Bondic. Issa will respond onto Tabson, so they're left in the 4v4. The bomb starts to go down as it will be planted. The retake has to develop soon here, Ben, but they're limited. No utility and no kit.
Yeah, no kit's quite a surprise from a big team as well. Godby normally makes sure somebody does have that, and in this instance, they have to push quite fast, and here it comes. Woxic gets first, and Issa didn't get that third one though. And just Smooya, UK man alone. He's been given a fight though, isn't he?
They are letting him go for these picks. I mean, he takes on Woxic, was just going for the 1v1 faces. Eventually they realized it's easier to just go for the double face, and they mow him down. But HellRaisers get the first round there. So unfortunate for Big, as you said, I mean, no kit. You are very limited in terms of your options.
Yeah.
They just had to go for the fast force, and obviously that's just off the back of the call from Godby.
Yeah, so something I noticed when I was looking through some of the stats, right? So Big are a team that, I think it was 2 in 43 games would they eco the opponent when they lose the pistol. And a lot of that is due to how much they invest in. So you can see Tizian and Tabson both bought armor and pistols here, but the 3 other players just bought pistols. So you might be thinking maybe if they bought more into the round, they would probably win more, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, 2 in 43. It was one of the lowest percentages of all the professional teams right now. So you got me thinking maybe they might want to do that more in the future. I mean, it would be worth looking into how many times did they win that first buy.
Yeah.
Because of that, though, because they'd have more money.
There's a very interesting tidbit there on how actually it plays off. Obviously, when you have the numbers like that, you can go, all right, statistically, this just has not been working.
Yeah. But obviously, if we were able to see like that first buy round, it might be a different thing.
Yeah.
They might be quite high. Just because, like, you know, AWPers suffer when you buy into that second round and then lose more often than not.
And that's one of those issues where potentially we do see him allowing to give Smooya a little bit more room to reign really around. Obviously, they've let him off the leash a little bit in terms of his fluidity. He is one of those very aggressive AWPers, and that's where he tends to excel. Slow round from HellRaisers, though. They've just been playing that default, waiting to see if Big would get aggressive. Woxic with the first. He takes down Tizian, and here comes the push. The pincer play onto the A-bomb site.
Yeah, very slow default from them here, and probably the best way to play it, especially when you just don't know what the other team are actually investing towards. And very clean again. 4 players, all down for Big, and it's just Smooya. Can't see him getting much out of this. I mean, they know where he is at the end of the day.
If they do feel like hunting him, though, he can hold the angle. There's a couple of players that have already been slapped up a little bit, and he can try and punish him with a deagle if he is going to be filthy as ever. Finds the first, goes out for more. Smooya confident as always, but unfortunately he's going to get shut down. Slapped by Woxic, and the second round found for HellRaisers. Only 1 casualty.
Yeah, I did see the HellRaisers players trading guns there, because Dead Fox was quite low, as you mentioned. He did get hit quite a bit. He gave his SMG to Woxic just then, just to, you know, you go ahead and I'll keep the AK, I'll live. Didn't work out for Bondic, of course.
It's still obvious. It's worth the risk, though. A smart move, you know, if you can get that extra bit of cash from it, it's not too bad if it's only the 1 SMG they lose. So HellRaisers been looking good so far.
And Smooya does buy another deagle. So he has guaranteed he will get an AWP next round if he does want it. But he's basically essentially guaranteed he will not have armor.
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't buy that deagle, he'd have armor and the AWP guaranteed. I think a smoke as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out if he doesn't get anything here.
Could be risky, obviously. Forced into the glass cannon AWP. Can always come back to bite you if you get left in a bit of an awkward situation. Tabson just going for the jump spot right now, trying to get the info. It's toying with them, makes his presence known. About 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock, though. HellRaisers, the slower stars, definitely been working well for him so far.
Yeah, taking it as it comes, really. Just, you know, slowly wind it down, see if we can get any info, see if they're impatient. And you can see Big tempting themselves around the map a bit, you know, thinking maybe we should stack this side. And now you can see Tizian's actually pushed into door as well. So that was after ESL was playing with them, as you mentioned. And here comes the rotate. So this is going to be a full rotate, potentially a 5v5 battle in the coming seconds.
Oh, this could be big. The Mexican standoff for the B-bomb site, but who is going to come out on top? As the push comes through and they start to swarm their way in. Angel with the first as Nex is removed from the equation. Tabson has to fight through the fire and flames. Peeks up at the right time, but only gets 1 before he's sprayed down there by Woxic. Continues to get the double kill on Smooya, and it is just left on little old Tizian, who is now having a dirt nap thanks to Issa. And that is the 3 rounds picked up. Woxic was on 2 HP there as well. Nearly butchered him, Ben.
That right click to the back does about 68 damage, so he was quite fortunate to not kill him there.
Right in the spine.
And as I mentioned, Smooya does get the AWP, no armor, has a smoke though, so if we see him potentially go into a peak here, where he does peek into like a HE grenade or a molly or anything, he'll take a lot of damage very quickly.
That's the risk you run. You put yourself in such an awkward position with that AWP. Unless you can just get off that first shot and fall back immediately, you have no real effect of sustain. You go down so quickly.
So the molly goes down, but he uses his smoke straight away. And to me, that's an easy tell that there is probably an AWPer there, just because you know that they were dedicated to playing that angle. And God B's already taken a lot of damage. I think it was towards Highway, was it? Oh no, it was toward B. He must have taken a firefight of some kind with Bondic in that instance.
Yeah, he's been able to get the spray on him. And this is rough as well, because he's actually rotated off now, suspecting that this could be a play towards the A site. The only contact they've had is from Bondic. Smooya got stripped of a small amount of health. God B was the one that came out by far worse for wear. The HellRaisers, they've just been toying with Big. This play from Tizian could be critical though. Needs to hold towards mid. Ben gets the first kill, but the switch to the flashbang, luckily assisted by Next. He's doing a good job of staying alive. They've got the choke point of mid on lockdown. This forces HellRaisers into such an awkward position now, as it is just Issa and Bondic left. And they aren't committing. They haven't just rushed out into the site. They've got to play it slow.
Yeah, looking for any kind of pick they can find. I mean, God B's not going to give them an angle there. But no, they've got a single smoke, but looks like they're just going to walk out. There's 3 players at this side of the map. This is going to be rough.
Yeah, just going down one after another. Bondic will fall to Tabson. Although the round started off a little bit awkward there, it was read quite nicely and played very well towards mid. Good support from Nex to help out Tizian. Overall, looking like a pretty well-oiled machine there for Big in terms of shutting down the round once they got the information.
Yeah, you can see the read though. As soon as the grenades were used towards B, right? Bondic uses smoke, HE, Molly, and I think he used his flash as well. As soon as all of that got used, God B just went, okay, I'm going to leave you here. Smear, you can all check, it's fine. I'll just leave you. And it clearly was the correct one. That was such a wide peak. He's lost 8 health off that jump.
Yeah, that is a big commit.
I mean, I suppose you're not on the pre-flash angle, I suppose. Right? I guess you dodge it. But very, very peculiar for me.
He is a boy with a lot of confidence.
Oh, for sure. He's always been a very, very comfortable player. That tag, ooh!
My goodness, nearly the follow-up as well, Ben. That would have been filth. Oh, he gets it. Woxic straight through, slapping down Tizian as he will penetrate him through the wall. A good way to kick off this round.
Yeah, definitely. So, better start compared to last round. I mean, you know, God B took a lot of damage at the start of last round, but it wasn't the kill. If the kill was made, Smoothie would have been in a very horrible position at B. And look at this risk they're taking. There's nobody on B right now. Literally nobody. He came to mid and then God B's going to rotate off because he does have his smoke still. So a lot of rotates around the map, just trying to, you know, potentially risk it in a way. But HellRaisers doesn't look like they've got their hearts set on the destination yet.
No. They've actually been playing very loose in these opening rounds. Obviously, that slow default, they've really just been playing against what Big are going to do, reading them and trying to counter them. 30 seconds on the clock, though. Angel goes out with support of Issa. They want to really sell the idea of this being the commit on the A site. And in reality, God B will be facing off against the 3 Musketeers that seek to take control of B. Smooya with the first, shuts down Issa, but still, they're confused. They're unsure where the true play is going to. The smoke, restricted vision there for God B. Didn't have the line of sight, and Bondic will behead him. Tabson has to cut off the rotate to try and help them a little bit out. Put them into a 3 versus 3. Potentially, you can chip away. Whistling out for those footsteps, seeing if you can hear him scurrying along as he starts to slow it down. Tabson is ready. Good headshot. Eliminates Angel. But even then, Ben, this is going to be such a hard round if they decide to go for it.
It's got to be a save.
It's not worth it.
No kits, like no grenades, sorry. Only the 1 kit on Smooya. And at B, right, that delayed push looked so long because God B uses grenades so very well there. He smoked that front part site, which is normally a 1-way smoke. He mollied the headshot push. They were stuck behind that for a good 12 seconds. And there wasn't much of a rotate coming. I mean, they sold that fake really well. Angel and Issa. Like, Issa died for the cause, essentially, but he kept all 3 players there. Angel managed to get out somehow.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Obviously, basically, going in as like a suicide squad to just cause the over-rotate and keep them there. God B fully delayed them. I mean, they were in that site for like, what, at least 15 seconds, really? Just standing in front of the smoke, waiting to try and go for the push before he finally went down?
Yeah, he held them for quite a long time, and I think that if he'd got a kill there, that round looks even better, right? It was a 4v3 to begin with. Tabson got that exit kill. Technically, if God B'd got 1, you might think about retaking it. And it's probably for the best they didn't, because that B site's horrible to take back. But they have bought back into this round. It looks like it might be a fast A take, though. Woxic throwing the smoke, I believe, which lands from the white box on site to block the view from highway. And I imagine that'll be combined with just the highway smoke as well. Smokes will come through now. Nice little pop flash there. And Tabson, he's already playing ready to fight on this site. He's the only man beyond the smokes. It's going to be a horrible fight if they all peek.
Oh, Tabson with the double. Just continuing his reign of terror as well. That's a hat-trick of frags for him with support of Next as he rips the head off a Dead Fox. The only one that remains for the T side is Woxic. He might be quick with the AWP, but Smooya is speedier. Finds that headshot and takes him down. 2 rounds now picked up for Big.
Pretty horrendous coordination, if I'm honest, on that push right there. So normally you use the smokes, you get out of A main first, you then give it about 5 seconds, then you get everybody ready, and somebody will pop flash sight for you. Not a single flash was thrown at the site.
No.
Tabson was allowed to just peek that freely, nobody looking at him even. It was just making you wonder, what were they actually doing? Like, was there nobody with flashes or anything like that? It was just really poor, if I'm honest. You expect better.
Just the dry play, not looking good for them, obviously. Causing the backlash that we witnessed. And for HellRaisers now, no cash as well. Strapped there just with the pistols they're going to be bringing through. Only 1 Deagle in play on Issa, but he already has taken a small amount of damage as he looks to try and find a pick towards mid.
So Woxic threw his Glock on the floor there. And I'm not sure what the plan is. I think he's trying to make sure that if the Deagle gets flown, if Issa dies, he can catch it instantly. That's my only thought.
It must have been.
Because I don't see why you do it otherwise.
Maybe he's got buttery hands.
Tabson's so close here. Ooh. It looks like a full knife peek.
That was
So Issa hasn't actually seen an enemy this round. Just thought I'd add that to the thing. He's been naded twice on that boost. And the third one goes in. Is there a fourth to be added to the books? Actually, there's no HEs left.
And that is the standard
Imagine a round
big
where
play,
everybody
really.
just dies on boost without seeing an enemy, just grenades.
One after another just get mortar striked by God B.
God. I mean, I suppose the only investment they did have was that Deagle purchase. So they have taken a lot of grenades off them for, you know, what, $700. You take a total of about $4,000 worth of grenades. It's pretty good. Ooh. And I suppose even better if you take a gun off them.
That's true. The Glocker tier and Angel as he opens up the site, getting the first frag.
He's across with him.
Oh, can they carry on? They do get the cross. I mean, Nex has gone down. It's just Smooya and Godby left to try and retake this. He's going to plant the bomb as well. You've got an AK and a Deagle in play. No armor, no utility. The cross not looking good for Bondic. It all goes down to Angel with the AK, but he couldn't slay. Godby will force him to hit the DECK. And that's going to be a defuse. Another round picked up as Big. Carry on. Although it was close there, bringing them down to just 2 players, they are going to get the round, Ben.
Yeah, just as I was mentioning that lack of investment into the round, they get 3 kills and a bomb plant, which... perfect for that $700 investment. You're thinking, fantastic. You get that Glock kill, you get the Deagle kills, and now you can get another AWP in. And I think Dead Fox dropped it to Woxic. There we go. Woxic, compared to that matchup at the major, doing very well so far.
That's what the Woxic you expect to see as well. Normally is sort of high flying.
Yeah,
they're 2 of the more aggressive players in that squad. It is interesting, however.
There we go.
Yeah, the confidence coming through. The only thing is that will be a trade back as Smooya gets the shutdown play. It does finish off Woxic. And that's the point of HellRaisers. It seems almost as if...
Smooya's like in front of this molly. Oh. He took 27 damage just to get through that molly, but nobody peeked into it. Quite unfortunate. It was a bold play.
Yeah, it is risky, but that is the Butterfield main move.
And he rotates off the B-bomb site fully as well. So you could, normally it's him and God B trading places for this instance. But Tizian's managed to get himself, I believe, in the vent. So that is your B player now. You've got a player in vent, and that is it. It's a very bold one, but I suppose there must have been something in the previous games from HellRaisers where they just do not go towards B. Especially for a read this risky. It's a minute left. Like, it's not exactly it was like 10 seconds or something.
This could be rough for them if it doesn't go their way, but luckily enough, HellRaisers are completely setting up for this A-take. And it bodes well. Everything is in position how they'd want it to be. Tabson, on the close angle, though, just focused on main. If they go for the door burst, he does need to be ready to fall back. He's got support of Nex. But timing's everything here.
That smoke's interesting. That's going to distract them quite a bit. I mean, it's so unusual to smoke that part, and Tabson walking right across the door. If it opened at any point, I mean, it opens now.
Oh, Tabson, how does he get away with this? Finds the first frag. Dead Fox, though, rapid as ever, kills Nex, slays him. Angel, a little bit of a love tap onto his teammate to pump him up as he is just soaring high. Finds the headshot back on Tabson. Smooya comes into effect with the AWP. Starts to railgun him down, but they are left in a 2v2. Bondic's position could mean everything here as well. They need to try and bypass him. They don't know he's there. He's allowed to go for the peek. Finds the first. Dead Fox, in the commotion that was caused by Bondic, goes for the peek, shuts down Smooya, and HellRaisers are back on top.
Honestly, Dead Fox has saved that round. I mean, if he gets that kill in A main onto Angel, I think that's round over. But it was literally one shot onto the head of Angel, and he just couldn't get anything else off. Dead Fox spins around, gets that one kill.
That was rapid. Like, ridiculous reaction times on that.
Phenomenal.
That's a 404 error, mate.
It would be for, I think it was Tizian inside A main. He just like, I've headshot him, but
I've blue screen.
I've crashed.
Ooh.
A lot of damage out there.
Yeah. Let's get that first frag. As they move through, just spraying and praying. Obviously, they know they've got the range advantage. Should be easy pickings for them if they can stay away from the close quarter combat. So far, looking good. If they can limit casualties, this would be a nice round to build. And Angel somehow has a Guardian Angel there. Stays alive with 7 HP after getting tagged down.
Yeah, again, Big not investing into like a force play of some kind. They always like playing it, which they must have had a look a lot into like whether it's advanced like analytics of some kind, but they must know our players aren't that great at the force play aspect of it. We might as well save that one round just to have a slightly higher percentage chance of winning, which is something a lot of teams do not consider. They just think, well, we lost one, technically we should force back into it because we won the previous one. When in fact you could just be like, well, we have about 3,000, we could probably wait one more round. And because of that, Smooth's now got a rifle, which I imagine he should get. Yeah, I was going to say, somebody will drop it all up.
I mean, that's the thing that's interesting, obviously, with both of these two teams, but especially Big in terms of GodB's leadership. You see a lot of that utility usage. A lot of it does come down to those more slower thought-processed rounds where utility is very, very key for the majority of their setup, so could lead into the fact, obviously, they want to have that extra money. They need full nades quite a lot of the time. Tizian has been doing a good job of defending towards mid. Trying his luck once again with support of next. Is it going to go well for him this time? Nearly not. Actually almost goes down. The wall bangs are coming out, Ben.
To be fair, you mentioned Tizian being quite good, so that his only 2 kills of the game were on that round.
Yeah, that's very true.
So other than that round, he's had like no impact on the map, it seems, at least. Anyway, because HellRaisers, they've avoided mid other than their anti-ecos. Which, for good reason, by looks things, right? I mean, when they did go, it went horribly. But, Angel is known for being a bit more wrenchy for IGL. I mean, that proves the point.
He's confident. That's the thing that helps him out
to feel this IGL method. And you do like to see that sort of thing, because you just know, lead by example, right? And that's one way of doing it. Tizian gets another kill on the board, and he's going straight through. This is wild.
Troublesome Tizian trying to go for a tremendous play, but instead just left dead as a doorknob on the ground. Another man goes down, that'll be GodB. Next follows suit as all of them one by one are trickling down, and Smooya is about to be flanked, but he's fast. Flicks around, gets the kill on Bondic, and now just tries to play the save game. Switches out to the AK, going to fall back, grab the AWP, most likely just scurry out of there. But he's still keen, Ben. He's looking for the frags. He's ruthless.
He must be thinking they're hunting him quite deeply, but look at Angel's map on the position on the map, sorry. He's already made this big wrap, and based on the sound cues here, Angel should have this kill for free. And there it is. So Angel was already one step ahead of Smooya there. Smooya, he had a player so close to him, he was thinking, they must be hunting me really quickly. Nobody there. Somebody jumped spotting on site. He's like, maybe not, I guess. I'll exit. Okay. Angel's just on B site waiting for him. Perfect hunt. And 7-3. I mean, Big, money's not great. Not going to force pints this either. So you got to be thinking this goes to 8-3. The anti-ecos have been perfectly fine for HellRaisers too. They've always gone out mid a bit late into the round and cleaned it.
Well, they've never got into a position where those pistols have actually been effective for Big.
I know, yeah. Like, I remember there was one round where Angel did get hit quite a bit by it, but at the end of the day, you need to get an instant kill quite quickly to just have a chance. Because that's when the chaos starts coming in on the T side. You lose one person anti-eco, you're like, oh crap, what's happening, what's happening? Yeah. Everybody starts falling, and suddenly it's absolute anarchy. But they're playing it so slowly, so methodically. Look how many grenades they've still got. They haven't even needed to clean out things. They're just playing it really, really slow. And that's another tag. Box is going to be spamming these walls. He's had a lot of success so far this game.
Smooth's only saving grace is the fact there is just one HE in play, and that is only on Angel, so they can't take him down.
Molly might be the play.
Ooh.
Ooh, just behind. This is an interesting double eco setup there. So one player in pit, one right above. I can't imagine it gets much done because you would normally pre-flush that side. But it is an interesting one. I suppose they're relying on the vent player to cause anarchy in this instance, but with them splitting through mid, he's got other worries in his mind. And he has to exit, so that's the player already called out.
Yeah, Tizian goes down. GodB. Stuck in position there, just playing from the close angle, tries to spray down, but it's just easy frags found with the AK. One by one, they're facing, just giving the game away. Next should surely go down. Does scurry out there with 32 HP, but even then, it's not going to amount to much.
Yeah, nothing really finding for them. Tabson's got P250 invested, but I can't imagine he gets anything done here.
Issa, speedy there as well in the reaction time. Everyone's looking crisp for HellRaisers right now. It's actually interesting that, I mean, Angel's sitting there with 9 frags, second most kills on the board. You said he's actually been one of the more impressive IGLs in terms of what we've seen from frag capability, and it comes through. HellRaisers is definitely a team where it seems like it's little pairs at times will step up. It's always a little bit inconsistent of who you expect to see coming through, but it can definitely rotate through. They're a team where everyone can sort of shine if they need to.
Definitely. I mean, Boxing needs to tend to take turns standing out, don't they? And
passing the baton.
Yeah, and there were some games, I remember the major, Bondic played really, really well against Cloud9, for example. And other players, as you mentioned, stepping up when they need to. And the first round that Big decide to not play more than one player at mid, HellRaisers go out mid. And it looks like it's going to be absolute anarchy in this A side. They've lost control already towards Highway. God B's stuck behind a smoke, but Nex is in the door. Not much else to do. I mean, he can spam all he wants, but there's not much help there yet.
Nex has to wait for his teammates to rotate over. There's a minute on the clock. The bomb hasn't gone down, but the kills are still coming through. Luckily, God B able to uppercut Angel there and find the frag. Leaves him in a 2 versus 2, Ben. The bomb will be planted. Issa going for the full rotate around as well. Dubious that someone could have pushed through mid. Woxic, he's left on the site on his lonesome with the AWP. A little bit of an awkward weapon to play from the angle he's in. But Issa's back, and they're poised and ready for this.
I was going to mention Woxic still had all those grenades left.
Oh.
But, you know, he didn't need to use them, apparently. Yeah, typically you'd see a player smoke that front side of sight and then they'd play a bit more defensive, but instead he just takes fights.
He's confident.
He's that confident, yeah. And I think he plays on such a high sensitivity as well for an AWP. I think he was like, what, 4 sensitivity at like 800 DPI, something stupid. Yet he's AWPing, which is like the most precision-based.
And that's what's crazy, because obviously it gives you that extra edge in terms of being able to go for those really fast flicks, but for precision...
Yeah, if you're holding an angle...
It's wild that he's actually that effective.
You must be moving your hand, like the slightest, like a millimetre. Yeah, very, very unusual. But I mean, it works for him. I mean, at the end of the day, sensitivity technically is personal preference. It's just typically nerves might affect your capability of aiming normally with a high sense.
You get that jitter with a high sense, mate. Yeah. It's not going to work out well.
And again, HellRaisers, they've been 100% so far on their converting when it comes to these anti-eco rounds. And you've got to be thinking they'll add further to it. Again, playing these rounds out so slowly. Not used much utility yet, they haven't needed to. And it looks like they might again go towards that mid sort of area of the map. But Tizian's already inspecting further. That timing.
Oh, Tizian with a deagle. Absolutely dirty as he gets the headshot on Bondic. There is the response though, as you'd expect. Woxic will punish him. Gets rid of the AK. Over, yeah. Smart, yeah.
I would prefer to see it maybe thrown on a bit higher area, but I suppose that's probably enough in this instance. So God B has bought a grenade, and it won't do anything, in fact. If it had gone through the door, Issa might have died to it, but the door was closed, unfortunately for him.
Ooh, God B trying to get up close and personal with the CZ. They are right around him, but they're all so low, Ben. That's the key point. These two players could win this round if they play their cards right, and they definitely are. It's all coming down to one man, Angel, to try and clutch it.
He's got his Glock out. This is not the weapon you'd be thinking of using.
Yeah, a little bit
just
awkward.
As I was saying, they were doing pretty well on their conversions. They lose one. And I think that was more attributed towards that anarchy. Like I mentioned, the chaos when you're running into a site and people are suddenly dying from different angles, you just start thinking, where's he died from? He's not saying anything. Where's this guy died from? Another round for Big, though. They got to be thinking, end this half on a pally so far. Because 9-4 is not great.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bring this back, end it on at least a 9-6, there's momentum there. I mean, you win the pistol, it's a reset scoreline, you're okay. A lot of it is just that mental game as well, how much it pumps you up having that extra round.
For sure. I mean, you consider they didn't win the pistol, right? And I think they won, what was the first buy round? You know, if you think about buy rounds on its own, they've won 4 out of probably 7 that have been played. Otherwise, they've ecoed quite often. Like, they haven't bought up much. They've not forced into rounds. Like, that round they just won then was not a force. There was just CZs and some Kevlar purchase, but they had a high loss bonus. And that was another fantastic grenade. Again, Angel lost 43 health points for a single HE. And Big are so willing to, on occasion, just leave a player alone on one side of the map. Like, they've got 4 players in A side here. And because of that high investment on players on that side of the map, they needed to take A main control. And Woxic, back to spamming the walls again. It's an interesting way of doing things, I suppose, but... Next with a kill from site to highway as well, and another one. Okay.
Doubles down on him, punishes 2 men. Angel and Isha are now completely gone, scrubbed from history. The only 3 that remain are Dead Fox, Bondic, and Woxic, and this squad is going in. They're going to try and bombard the B site and see if they can overwhelm. Dead Fox, quick face. Did get the read though. Oh, unfortunately on the re-peek, Smooya was there, armed with the AWP, and it just leaves 2 of them now, Ben, with 25 seconds to try and overthrow the defense.
Yeah, Dead Fox was the only guy who had a smoke left, and he died with a molly in his hand, which means that dropped. And last guy alive, Woxic, can't do anything there. I wonder if anybody relayed the information to Dead Fox there that he was the only one with the smoke. Because if he smoked CT, those players in B main could have moved. But instead they were stuck there, peeking different angles, worrying, like, is there a CT? There's a guy site, we know that, but you know, if we move out, we might die from this angle. Instead, he was too focused on killing the guy's site. It was a bit bizarre.
Trapped like a rabbit in a headlight, mate. Just a single one.
And Dead Fox just bought a Galil by mistake after being dropped an AK. So he's only got a smoke.
Yeah, he does only have the 1 nade now. Just a single smoke.
Not great.
Actually could hurt him a little bit. I mean, HellRaisers, they like that slow style. The nades are so pivotal for them to being able to open up those sites.
Yeah, it's very detrimental towards them later on in the round. But Smooya, ooh, 99! And Woxic ran through with an AWP!
Next saves him. Bondic then trades it back. I mean, Smooya is still alive. Bogdan's law and all that. Let's see if it'll work. No.
And the trade, though. Godby was there to trade it already. But it is still a 3v3, though. It's not a fantastic position to be in for Big. But I suppose when you consider that they started off so hectically, it's probably an okay situation. I mean, they've got 2 AWPs. Both, technically, they were coming a site each. But Godby has moved to mid with his.
Now then. 3 versus 3, Ben. 6 men alive on the battlefield, but who will actually come out on top? Issa sets himself up, opens the door, launches out the smoke. He has the molly. The rest of his teammates are arriving. It's a matter of time until he busts out the door, waving the 4-4, trying to see if he can lay down some lives. Angel will find the first one.
That was the B player, though. Godby's got to be second thinking this now. It's just Tabson on this side of the map, and he's already lost it. So Godby 1v3 has to jump through the smoke. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how Tizian was picked off in the vent in that situation. I mean, I guess he was pulled enough by, you know, he's saying smokes out A. Yeah. He peeks out, just dies to Angel. I guess that's the simple playthrough. But 10-5, not looking great for Big, if I'm honest.
It's not ideal. Obviously, a bit of a slower scoreline there. A very slow start. Struggling a lot of those rounds. But as you said, I mean, we saw the majority of the rounds, no real investment. Pretty much just trying to play it safe and wait so they can have an expensive buy in the full buys. And even then, most of those buy rounds went a little bit south for them. We do have the updated odds as well now, Ben. That's a 3.20 for Big. Yeah,
expected, really. I suppose it's... Thing is that the one, like, devil's advocate here is most people consider Cash to be T-sided, right? So 10-5 is probably about right. You wouldn't say it's more than 66% T-side favoured. So, and you consider they lost Pistol, they didn't force into many rounds. So if you consider how many eco rounds they lost, they probably lost like, what, 4 eco rounds that they played out? And they only bought into 1 and technically won it. You take those out of the, you know, scoreline, it's only 6-4.
Who's fallen over and can't get up? It's like an old man.
I'm not too sure.
I've fallen over.
It's a very uncomfortable position, though, isn't it?
Really
he's on his right-hand side. That right arm's got to be numb. It's got to be numb.
It's like when you wake up and you have to flail your arms because you've fallen asleep on it.
Full, like white noise sort of feeling.
Yeah. Like a TV with static.
Pins and needles.
Maybe that's why they're struggling, mate.
One of them just can't feel his arms. Just one arm, just dead.
Smooya's accidentally broken his back.
Just the back.
Yeah. Straight spining. Well, looks like we're almost ready to carry on with this one. Match is live. And we'll be finishing this one up big. 5 rounds picked up so far on their CT half. Then they'll move over to the T side. HellRaisers, can they carry on? They have the lead right now, and it seems like they have a very good understanding on how to counter Big.
Look at the wacky buyout of the CT side as well. So Angel buying a CZ in smoke. I've been seeing a lot more teams buy CZs on that CT side. I think it was something like 60% of the rounds had CZ purchases on the CT side. Whereas Smooya's bought a Deagle. So that's a complete contrast again. You rarely see that. Cash seems to be the map that people do it on there. I think those around Nico, isn't there?
It's one of those buys where it's a Smooya buy. Like, he's going to go in for that Deagle just off the confidence.
If he feels confident, yeah.
And sometimes it does work out well for him.
Yeah. It's an unusual one, but if he gets it, it's hard to fault it. I mean, he's got the peak there on Issa. And it's decent damage.
Yeah.
But Tizian took so much damage trying to actually get that kill on the way out. He got dinged, I think, through the corner of the wall. It's down to 18. Not a good trade, but in terms of info, I guess you guaranteed there was a player site and probably one highway. and back to reset, essentially, because Smurr needs to be in a position where he can actually use that deagle to entry into an area. So he goes over boost. I imagine this will take him towards highway if they can.
They are being allowed to leak out ever so slightly. They're expanding and taking that map control. We're going to see Tabson go for the spot up towards the A site as well, and his lips have been ripped clean off. Issa domes him down as he finds that first frag bend. There's 35 seconds left on the clock as well.
He's got to be the destination.
Yeah, this has to just be an all-out brawl at the B site, surely.
Bondik's got 2 flashes for the rotate here, so as soon as they call this, Bondik can start throwing flashes in, but, I mean, Woxic doesn't need them.
Woxic's just whopping him out. One after another, Ben. They're going down.
He's just facing everything.
Oh, he's keen.
I mean, he started the first half like this, didn't he? He was very confident, just taking any battle he can. You can see it in the aim, like, you see the little jitters of it. But Tizian hoping to replicate something that Woxic has just done, but don't see it happening.
No. Well, he will go down the end there, slain by Bondik. Huge round for Woxic, tons of confidence, and a hat-trick of frags will get wired over to him for his investment there. 11 rounds now picked up for HellRaisers. The worrying point is that that was a much-needed pistol for Big, really. That would have put them into a much healthier spot. Instead, this is going to give HellRaisers a huge lead.
And this is one of the rare instances that Big force into the second round.
Here we go.
So consider that they were 2 in 43 wins previously. I think that was using major-only stats as well. So that was against decent level opposition too. So to see if they can potentially overturn that statistic and make it a bit better.
Try to flip it on its head a little bit. It's a much-needed round for them. At this point, Big are left out high and dry. They do need to try and get a buffer going soon. Tizian tries to test his might with the door, seeing if he can bait them in. No one really going to fall for the trap.
Smooth
already dinked down, Ben. 21 HP.
That must have been an MP9 headshot at quite a bit of distance, just off. I mean, Woxic's only shot 3 bullets, so he's been absolutely whacked by that. Just a
whack a smooth.
And it looks like the A site is the focus, but Angel at Forklift, you've only got 2 players with head armor. This can't be a good idea. I mean, Angel's ready to fight. He's throwing the HE, but grenades in the hands. Poor timing.
Angel's been blown to bits. His brain's all over the wall, and now they're going to be pushing out and trying to secure the bomb site. They've got free reign to plant. They're in good post-plant positions as well, trying to lock this down, but there is a man coming from the rear. Sneaky old Woxic trying to slip in from behind, as he will attempt to punish, but struggles. Goes down to Tabson. The Deagles are looking far too strong, Ben, as one by one they're going down, but here's finally the resurgence. The retake squad arrives on the scene. Bondik goes in from the sidelines. The Pharmacist need to have a good amount of damage behind him. He gets one, and the follow-up, and it's all on God B. Trapped on the bomb site, pushes out, will get the execution on Bondik, but the trade is there from Issa. They jump on it, and they will get the defuse. Luckily, Dead Fox and Issa both out of kit. They have more than enough time, and that is 12 rounds now secured. It was a close round, though. Only 2 men surviving.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking in that post plant, they need to do something. As soon as they lose that player, so Tabson cleared out A main. He got Woxic, who was chasing behind. As soon as they know there's nobody else A main, you've got to be thinking somebody has a move, try and get off the site, because your 2 players quad 1 guy default. They was just stuck there. And as time runs out, they're forced into peaks like they did, and they don't get the round through. And now Smooth's got a scout, which is again a weird purchase. I mean, I guess he's just guaranteed if they do lose this round, he can buy another scout.
Yeah,
right? He can use that again another buy round.
I mean, it's one of those rounds where it's like, right, I mean, I guess, like, if he can get in there, get a couple of tags, at least they're softer, right? That would be easier for his teammates to actually find the frags. But that's if he can even get those tags and get away. Especially if they're going for a 3-2-1 face here. Peeking at the same time, somehow gets the tag off, Ben.
Yeah, does go a bit too far, and Woxic does take control of that, and he's taking control all outside B now.
That's so much info.
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot of info, and I don't think Smooth, I don't think he knows which player he hit, technically, by damage. So he'll be like, I've tagged 1, but, Woxic just takes any fight he can by the looks of things. Further fights coming in. Does get shot on the side, and that's 2v2. And that player who's been tagged still hasn't been killed, technically, yeah. And there we go, 1v1 next. No armor. Doesn't have the bomb, technically, either here. But with Issa's rotate direction, he'll see it.
Issa's going to see the bomb. Surely, yeah, he must have spotted it by now. Yeah, he's got into position, but he's just going to have to hold this. Surely he has no real reason to push
further up.
Oh, tests his luck, but he is going to come out on top. He will win that one as he overpowers Nex and finds the frag, but that was so close.
Look, if Nex had Kevlar, he wins the round. Because that aim punch, somehow he resisted the aim punch. He went through about 4 bullets, and he still had a chance to kill him. Very unusual. I mean, Smooth does get a Galil this time. it's still, I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I mean, the risk versus reward is always going to be a question, right? But it just felt like there wasn't going to be a payoff for that. Not in that scenario. Not in
It's
that
one of those
round.
where if you do something absolutely spectacular, that's the payoff, right? You get 3 kills. Fantastic, you've done something you probably won't do again
It's the
in
risk,
100
right?
rounds.
If you're just like, right, let Owen take the scout, go towards B. If he can get 2 picks, to try and get the headshots off.
I like this boost though. It's an interesting one. Although that smoke in front of quad has actually blocked all the vision. So this is what normally happens. You wait at the front of sight, and then somebody will flash it through. But instead they actually got the kills, so they don't even need that flash. But Angel's still alive here.
Well, they've swarmed the site then. They have locked it down. They're about to push in and actually secure it here, but Angel was still in position. He fires off a couple of rounds and does get a single frag onto next before Tizian responds. And now it's down to a 3 versus 2. The CTs are outnumbered. Big could actually get themselves a 6th round, and it would be huge if they could. They need to start building this, and Smooya will be the saving grace for them. That is a hat-trick of kills coming out of the young Smoo.
Yeah, a very unusual round. I mean, the boost at quad got negated, fine. But then suddenly they were still losing kills despite that quad smoke being there. So as soon as that quad smoke's there, the guys on site technically just have one person looking at the smoke, the other guy can look anywhere else. But somehow they lost players on the site. It was quite weird.
Well, you did go for the 16-12 prediction on this one.
Yeah, I mean, if Big were able to pick up a few rounds here, that scoreline is looking quite good. And HellRaisers haven't fully forced into this, which I think is quite unusual because they're not able to buy into the next round. So you may as well spend that extra little bit. But I suppose if you're Woxic, you probably wouldn't have spent more. So, unusual.
Well, straight through the vent. They're going to go for this burst into B. Can they find the entries? It's just against the Deagle, so it shouldn't be too hard for Big to be able to overwhelm this. Using the utility as well, still playing it smart and slowly. Bondic, so close, like so far when he's trying to go for this Deagle spam.
Yeah, little does he know there's a player perfectly lined up on that left-hand side.
Every time, he's just fractions away.
Yeah, Big get those first 2 kills, and that kind of accepted the round is over for HellRaisers. They save those pistols because, as I mentioned, they can't actually buy next round. So you can save those pistols, use them next time. Angel has a smoke, which could play a big part in how they set up next round. Because on occasion you do have the IGL. If in some instances the IGL will say, everybody stack this site, I'm going to go to the other one, I'll smoke and pretend we're playing there fully, and then I'll rotate to you guys. But with 2 Deagles available, I kind of think that sort of situation goes out the window. You start risking Deagles. If you get a good spawn, you might as well try and go for a pick here. And I think that's the first time I've ever seen 5 players take roughly the same amount of damage from the explosion. They all crowded in the sunroom.
Everyone just sitting around having a little campfire song.
Yeah, so if we, again, just to compare, so at the major it was Smooya and God B that played really well. Smooya was 28-11 in that instance, God B was 24-15. And Woxic went 8-16 with that 29 ADR. This game Woxic's already got more than 20 kills.
Yeah.
So as a pure comparison, this is a much better game from him. And that was a hell of a grenade. What?
That's huge.
That's potentially 1-hit territory for some of these Deagles.
Yeah, that is actually wild. The amount of damage we've just seen come out there from a single nade straight over.
The worst bit is they won't know until after the game that if they throw like 2 of those grenades, you probably kill at least one of the players. But Issa did trade off that first kill that did go in Big's favour, so 4v4. And they still... Woxic's the only player who didn't actually buy another pistol here. He's kept that P2K, which... I understand it because he wants that AWP next round. But it does kind of weaken his potential of getting a kill in this round, right? And it does let him play a bit more of a scouting role, which he is doing in Z. And there we go, he gets it, gets the info. They're still out mid, guys. Just so you know. So if the vent breaks, they could go B side, but otherwise, Angel's got a really nice position here. He's heard so many of these players running.
Angel needs to punish them, though, because there is the backstab in Tizian, who's already coming around. Smooth gets the entry. Tizian, now waiting by door, is able to push out. The door's been opened. He's going to struggle.
He's sitting in it.
He's just waiting.
Oh my God.
This is fine. He's just going to sit there, just enjoy the fire. Does go down, as he'll be burnt straight out of the round. It's only Bondic and Woxic that remain. HellRaisers, surely not going to get their 14th round today, as Woxic is the last man remaining with an AK in his hand, trembling as he pushes back up towards the A site.
Ooh, he saw his head.
About to be annihilated, surely. Ooh, a quick tippy tap, but there's the response from Next, and he goes down. So an 8th round picked up for Big. there's still so much more to be done.
Yeah, and he does get that AWP glass cannon in there. Smoke and flash alongside it. And otherwise, the buy still isn't great. Like, you know, you consider, what, you do have 5 smokes across the board, but Dead Fox, for example, he just opted for the Molotov instead.
Just the one nade, yeah.
And quite interesting to see Angel using that Silence M4. He's one of the few pros still using that. I think it was Forrest, Neo, and a select few players who were still using that gun. I remember there was one event where it was literally just 18 purchases of the weapon compared to like the 1,000 on the other one. Quite unusual. But the round started off pretty poorly for HellRaisers here. Woxic gets defeated in that AWP battle against Smuya. The other battle that has been at B site with the AWP, Smuya's gone there every round on CT, and it looks like he'll follow that up on T side.
Looks to try to get the second pick as well. Dead Fox is the only other man that's on the site. The other 3 players are stacked up towards A. Utility now goes out. Dead Fox in the little close angle here, just looking over. If you can try and get those early shots, try and punish when they push in, it would be great.
He's got no grenades. He's doomed here unless he kills 3 of them. Honestly, he has no time to play. The Molotovs come in. This is him dead.
Yeah.
He gets 1 kill at best, and that's it. Round over.
At the same time, it's just not going to work. Isn't able to go for the frags. And as you said, round over. I mean, the last 3 players, they're sat on the A site. Just save it. You're not going to win that if you do go for the round. You might as well just keep it safe. They're going to boost the player out event here as well. So is that Tabson possibly going to go for a bit of a hunt? Yeah.
I just don't understand the thought process. So I mentioned right at the start of the round, Dead Fox did only purchase a Molotov grenade.
Yeah.
Woxic dies at B. You leave Dead Fox on his own there after he's used his Molotov already.
That's all nades gone.
Literally nothing else on the site. And B site, you can hold up place so long if you have a smoke.
Well, this is the thing, right? A good way to prove that is obviously something we spoke about a little bit earlier on in the matchup.
Yeah, God B did it. Yeah.
When he was there with what? A HE, a Molotov, and a
HE,
smoke.
Molotov, smoke. He covered the site, blocked it off, made a wall essentially.
That was a good like 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
They sat
but Dead
waiting.
Fox, no grenades at all. He was holding that angle, was peeking it. 1 flash, he's off the angle already. And they just completely swamped.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder what was the actual thought process, because you know he's not exactly having a fantastic game. He's 8 for 12. So again, you're banking on a player who's not playing too great to get 2+ kills. It's not going to happen. So unusual. And a pause does come through. So that's the first pause of the game, and that's at 13-9. So potential for another 7 of those.
And this is the thing, right? You look at it now. That's a pretty good point to actually bring up. The fact there has been no pauses up until this point. It was a very slow start for Big. Now if the pause is coming through, unsure exactly of whose pause this actually is, if it's technical or technical. Technical. That's a new word.
Nice
for it,
mixture.
mate. Yeah, you got to blend them both together like a smoothie. But it's interesting because obviously Big, you feel like there would have been a pause a little bit earlier on to actually adjust, but instead they've kind of just brute forced through it and then been able to find the weakness for HellRaisers.
I suppose that's just the mentality they have though. Like I mentioned, the way they buy, they never force into a round. Like they don't dedicate a force in. So God be most just saying, it's fine. We're playing for the buy rounds.
Yeah.
We don't play for those force rounds which are not reliable. We'll just play for the buy rounds. We know we can win there.
It's all about the consistency.
Yeah. And something aggressive. Godby just absolutely railing his way through A main. I mean, and he's so confident. He takes another peek. That's wild.
A lot of confidence from either side there. Both of them do go down.
They're boosting over at mid. This could be perfect in terms of timing. Unfortunately, though, they're dedicating towards the end. They got the entry. So this, I was going to say, it has to come quick. And unfortunately, Nex is ready for it.
Yeah, Bondic wasn't able to actually get the shot off. Misses, shooting just above the head. Woxic up close and personal. Grabs an M4. It's going to be the silence one of the body. Sprints in, but Tabson with the adjustment. Panics. Everything goes wrong, and they're all dead bent. 3 rounds is the only thing that now holds these 2 teams apart. Considering the lead we saw, especially the fact that HellRaisers won the pistol there in the second half. They've won both pistols.
And converted all the way to that first buy.
And Big are still bringing it back.
Yeah, I suppose it shows that HellRaisers haven't quite got a footing yet in these buy rounds. So this is a much better buy for them compared to the last buy we saw. Full grenades on all 4 riflers. Orpa does have Kevlar this time too. And hopefully it's something better from them, really. I mean, the pre-nade comes through there, but Woxic thankfully hadn't opened the door yet. Otherwise, he would have taken 40 damage for free.
Yeah, would have been hit with that splash damage, but instead, he's just splattering the wall. Yeah, wasn't prepared for that one.
And that's again, Woxic dying first in the buy round, within 30 seconds of the round starting. It's not a great one to start off with, because just, you're thinking, okay, Orpa, I'm going to go for this pick. You're just like, yeah, sure, go for it. dies 10 seconds into the round, dies again 20 seconds into the round. And again, they've managed to trade it up, but again, it just keeps trading back and forth. They've finally got an advantage. But the question is, they have no idea where this bomb is going at all. Like, these kills were all at mid. It wasn't a clear indication, but they know there's a player out A.
Tizian. Trying to make some mischief on the site, but instead dies and leaves it up to his protege there in Smooya. The one-man army.
Nades.
Yeah, he's getting tagged though, Ben. He's getting slapped up a little bit by the Molotov. They're going to diversify their push as well. They all split up. They can try and slip in from different angles. It's a 3-on-1, and he's only just going to go for the plant. So Smooya really on the back pedal here, just having to wait to see what goes on.
All three players have barely got any grenades between them, but they are fully spreading. So there's 2 through truck, 1 guy through A main. This will take quite a while for them to get through to it. They've all got kits. They know they've got time to play with. The question is, where does this molly get thrown when Bondic arrives? If he gets a chance to throw it.
Oh, here's the
That's the first play. He knows he's quad. Is the molly going to come out?
Smooya.
There it is.
Needs to go huge now into this. Drops the Molotov, finds the headshot! Ooh. The sickening flick there from Smooya as he adjusts to take down Bondic, but they jump on the bomb, and Issa, luckily, just in the nick of time, that could have been filthy.
That was a nuts shot.
Absolutely wild.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't affect too much on the grand scheme of things right now, because the round did go HellRaisers' way. But honestly, it played so well into his hands, didn't it?
Here's the thing as well, right? Look at Smooya from what we saw going into the second half. I mean, what?
He had
was
9 kills to 13 deaths or like 11
Since he's been able to actually set the pace of the game and go for picks and play that aggressive style.
This lineup. Ooh. That's meant to be the anti-molly boost.
Yeah.
Like extra smoke, sorry. So essentially when somebody mollies those boost, that's meant to instantly pop and you get a one-way smoke out of it. Unfortunately, nobody did molly boost. So he just looked like a bit of a plonker. Ooh. Boxing was quite successful in that first half with those wall bangs, hoping to follow up.
He has been very aggressive with the wall bangs, quite consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair play to him, he's got what, at least 3 or 4 tags out of it, a couple of kills.
You miss the shots you don't take, don't you?
You do indeed.
And look at Angel on the map. He's managed to make such an informative push. He's managed to get into T-spawn with 1B. But he's in a position now where he needs to either advance further on A to get a clear insight into the round, or he's holding position long enough to then get the deep call. Yeah,
this is actually really good for them, though. This could be huge if Angel plays this correctly, as he is just holding.
I don't think he saw the bomb, though. If he saw the bomb, that would make sense, because that bomb has to rotate this way, which is what he's going to get now.
Yeah. Oh, instantly goes for it, and that's the kill. That's beautifully done.
And he smokes on the bomb. Sure, yeah.
Angel's just toying with him. And everyone's going down as well.
This kill on God B should be easy as well. He's just so low. Unless he doesn't look at him, this kill should be free. Angel must have been thinking the bomb's going to rotate through connector, right? God B misses. And Smooya again, 1v4. Not as many grenades this time.
No.
If he had grenades in this spot, again, it'd be fantastic. B-side's great for it. Just the flash, though.
Well,
there's 3 players charging him.
What can he get done, Ben? He's up close and personal. They push around, misses the first. And then the
360 spin entry.
Him, yeah. He went for that's a classic play. Spin your way in.
Yeah, I mean, it probably threw him off.
I'd be spooked.
I'd be like, what's he doing? Like, what?
Why is he spinning?
He's jumped in, spinning. And obviously that's why I missed the shot.
Yeah. And we lost the whole game.
So 15-10, I mean, HellRaisers doubling up on the rounds they had won. But because of how many rounds Big won in a row in such a clear fashion, they still got a fantastic buy, but the buy doesn't matter. If they lose this round, this map is over.
Yeah. Well, 15-10. We're back in it. Could very well be the final round here, unless Big can carry on with the second win they got over this second half. Let's see how it's going to go. Woxic, will he give the game away with that overconfidence we've seen coming out from him? Looks like he's going to try and go for the aggressive peek once more. Actually, just going to hold the angle towards main. This could be the correct call. It seems like they're setting up to get a bit aggro, but Tizian cuts him down with a wallbang. Gives him a taste of his own medicine there, Ben.
You hate to see that. I mean, I was going to say, he's been ever present in front of that door.
Consistently.
And Issa, I mean, Tizian's been indoor on his own every round so far. But Woxic has also been indoor every round so far. So surely as soon as those 2 players are gone, you just think door is probably clear. But this play at B is so, like, it's half aggressive, but half not. Like, Angel's on this box, so if Smooya moves forward not checking that box, he probably dies here unless he gets another worldly flick. the alternative obviously is he just walks off, which in this instance, HellRaisers, Angel will be thinking how much time until I go for a push. Because it happened last round, he had a crazy good push. Yeah, see the impatience here. He's already thinking we need to move somebody off. We're dedicating too much to the site. Especially with mid oop. And I mean, I think he says AWPing highway from site. So that guarantees, I suppose, that highway is covered, but the grenades come in. This rotate will take a long time. I mean, they've got the first skill into the site. Easy needs to go absolutely insane here.
Yeah, he really does have to pop off.
15 seconds.
There's not a lot of time left when this conversion goes in. Tries to adjust. Issa.
He saw him though. Next saw him.
Finds the first frag Ben. Now the push comes through. The fast adjustment, 9 seconds. The no scope comes through as well. Raised in hell. Like Smoking Joe Fraser, the HellRaiser raised in hell with the flavor. Issa blows them all down one after another. That is HellRaisers taking the map with a star-studded finish as he pops off massively.
A 5k to end the game, and I said he had to go insane.
He's not an AWPer, mate.
He's not an AWPer at all. 5k to end the game, 4 man on the site with 15 seconds left.
That's wild. He's been watching that Chris J clip.
I suppose he might have.
Got him pumped.
Like, what? That's crazy. I said he had to go insane, but I didn't expect him to kill all 4 players.
Gone full Cypress Hill. Absolutely
like,
ridiculous.
What? He's ruined my prediction.
I know, he's shut you down there, mate. He's shut you down completely.
Wow. I mean, fair play to them. HellRaisers, they finally got to grips in that game.
Yeah.
Like, they were, they lost 5 in a row. We were starting to think maybe they're not very good at that buy-round sort of part of it. They finally get through, and if I'm honest, Issa's bailed them out of that round because it looked like it was going to hell.
And HellRaisers have definitely overthrown them, Ben. They looked fantastic. They were able to lock it down. They had Big's number for, I'd say, the majority of that game. Yeah. I mean, first half, they were able to counter him very well, very slow. It was smart. They knew exactly what Big were going to do and shut it down round in, round out.
Yeah, I think it was more like that CT economy. We all know it's a bit fragile. You don't get good buys very often. But because of how big purchase, it's even worse, technically. You can take advantage so much further than usual. And it showed, right? And because of that heavy lead they managed to get on the T side, it meant they had a lot of room to falter with in that CT side, and they did come through. And that is the win, though. So, at the end of the day, that's 3 points on the board for the start of the season off.
That's big, and that is actually a really pivotal point as well, because I sort of alluded to at the start of the show, but the fact that with overtime in Pro League, you will get completely ruined. If you do actually force those games going overtime, even if you win, it's not going to be a good affair for you. You want to try and keep those games in regulation time as much as you can, because of how that affects standings. And obviously, everyone plays the same amount of games. If you can try and avoid overtime as much as possible, it's going to help you majorly when it comes to the end of the season. It's a huge point. That was ridiculous. Considering
it started off with that, you got the trade there. And this just to finish it off, I mean, it's crazy.
Just flicking
it's
around
this
like
third shot. I was surprised he'd get there, and then obviously no time left, he just charges.
Gives it, takes down God B, shuts down the game, HellRaisers win.
Fair play to him, honestly. That's all you can give him, really.
That is absolutely ridiculous. And that is the first map done and dusted. However, there is more to come. HellRaisers and Big are not done yet. There is a second map that will be up next after the break. For the meantime, I suggest you take a couple of seconds to go grab yourself some water, rehydrate yourself after that sickening play, and we'll be diving in with the second map after the break.